All right, so we did the video on just on subgenerals, not discussing gear or any of that. Um, and again, I I I tend to do videos based on like my personal situation. But I think a lot of players that are my size or bigger are probably wanting their siege and cav to survive longer, so they're focusing on two areas, and that's where they're gonna debuff the heaviest, and that's against the siege and the archer. So that being said, understand that going into my video, a lot the gear and the stuff I'm discussing is going to be in regards to debuffing siege and archer heavy. Um, some of you are traps, and people ask me all the time. I had one person ask me tonight, actually. Now, if you are a trap and you have the ability to max ascend Hojo, which I've been getting a lot of Hojo pieces. I've got enough to completely max them out. And I might even have some that I haven't broken down yet. But the reason I say that he is so good is I went through the numbers on him. I got them written down somewhere. Yeah, here it is. So when he's completely done, he cuts archer attack by 110. And then HP is it's kind of fairly even buff sprinkled across the board. Siege, attack, HP, defense, 10, 15, 15. Ground, kind of real similar. And then mounted, he cuts the mounted HP by 125. So the mounted's that's at a high level. So if anyone asks me on Hojo, like I'm going to go ahead and say as a trap, and Yeon's one that a lot of people use. You got a lot of copies of Yeon and Hojo if you were spending in the past. But let's see. Ground and mounted, ground and mounted, ground and mounted, ground and mounted, ground and mounted. So he's pretty much a melee type debuff general. So in the first video, we discussed what generals give you the most bang for your buck on what you call it, on without being red starred. Now with this video, I'm going to go more into the gear. So I face big teams. So for me, what I'm really wanting to do is I'm wanting to cut the range and the siege. And this weapon only has one debuff, and it is only siege machine attack, but it's 56%. I see some players go put full sets of whatever on their subgenerals, and I think that's a big mistake. And then Civ gear, there are certain Civ gears that have really high debuffs. So this one, even though it probably would benefit my Cav a lot, this cuts enemy range attack by 50 and range and siege HP by 60. So for me, like, this is a really important one to have on. And then we look at Augustus. This is a mistake I see a lot of people make, is going full Augustus or, whatever it may be. And this one, and the reason, so like the set of 10%. So that's why I split this up. So I'm getting 20% between two generals with a 2-piece set, 20% enemy troop attack. So Augustus should always be 2, and that's it. And then with this one, the Apollo, you have a set of 6, you can cut all enemy troop attack by 20. But I think at this stage in the game, we have to look beyond the sets. And 20% debuff is good, but if you're splitting up Civ gear or other premium gear, it's probably going to benefit you more. So with this one, so I'm getting enemy troop attack 10%. And so that's half of what a full set of 6 is. And then I got this gear, which at the end of the day, most of the Amenity or upgraded Amenity armor does none of it debuffs Archer. And then with this one, heavy on the siege HP debuff on leg armor. So yeah, I'm kind of split up and I'm kind of all over the place here. But it's good stuff, you know, and this is cutting the enemy ranged attack. So with gears, and then also Romulus. Romulus should just be 2 pieces because that's 15% enemy troop HP. A set of 6, another 15% enemy troop defense, I don't think is worth it when if you split them up, at a minimum, if you're using 4 pieces, you're going to get 30% enemy troop HP. I don't have all 6, but I've got the leg armor, which is also good. Siege HP, siege defense, completely done up. Yeah, so Romulus, 2 pieces. 2 pieces, man, because if you split that up on 2 generals, that's 30% HP. Let's go on to the next. Romulus boots. It's 2-piece set. So this one's really good. Range HP, range defense, and enemy siege machine attack. I've got a 2-piece set, and for some reason, let's see, Munso, do I really want this on here? Ground troop, amount of troop attack, ground amount of troop HP. Those are good things to have. I think I'm probably just going to keep it on there. Just because I really can't think of another option that would be better. And here again, we've got 2-piece Augustus. They're very good. I'm not super huge on the debuff that it does, but enemy troop attack, 10% across the board. And here, this one, ground amount of defense. So basically, I'm using this here to kind of compensate what some of the debuffs that I don't generally go for. Quick. This one, you know, same deal. Cut the siege attack. Same deal here. Basically, the only difference is this piece of gear, which is mounted, you know, the ground and mounted debuff. So I'm not 100% straight just Archer and Siege. I do compensate with pieces of gear to at least debuff some of this a little bit. But for most of us, like, and most of the big players, I mean, way bigger players than me, understand the score that, you know, once your Siege and once your Cav are gone, it becomes a really big issue because once the Siege and Cav is gone, then they can small Siege and they're going to decimate your Archers. And then it's an easy Cav or easy ground to clear the rest. Or maybe they don't even need to do that. They send 130 million troop rallies, and they're just sending ground to wipe you once the Cav's gone. So in this case, I've got 1 Munso Bracer because it cut range and siege HP by 33%. I really don't know why I did not get that piece last time. But I need to get that piece and finish off the Munso gears. And here my basic setup with Sasanian range siege machine defense, enemy range troop HP. Which I think the buffs are high enough and have gotten high enough that, you know, every little debuff matters. So if you're getting a bonus defense, like, I think defense is more relevant now than it used to be because the numbers are so high. And then the Aztec shield is range and siege HP debuff. So I am sacrificing a little bit in that areas on the range attack debuff. Click, and again, Sasanian leg armor. Siege Machine defense, range, and Siege Machine attack. So that's what I do like that piece for that reason. Then this is pretty much my basic. Well, there's the Abass bracers. Basic setup aside from the Abass, which is 50% siege HP. But my point is, don't like take all your premium gear and do full sets on these subgenerals, because you're leaving a lot of debuff on the table. Like, you're giving up a lot. It might not seem like it's a lot, and you're like, oh, my defense is good, even without that. And it may be. I wouldn't argue that fact. It probably is good defense, but there's a lot of debuff you're leaving on the table. And with that, I feel like that is probably the end of this video. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the all the extra buffs that can be had that will help you survive K46 and beyond rallies, and maybe I'll share a few reports. Ultimately, I got zeroed in about 6 rallies, but I do have some better reports against RSP since I made a few changes this week, and we'll take a look at those.